And we are live. Welcome, mystery and thriller fans. I'm your on-air host, Sara DiVello, and I am so excited to present you with this very special treat. Tonight, for the first time ever, I don't have an author for you. I have a book critic, a mystery and thriller book critic, Ms. Oline Cogdill, joining us live from Florida. And she is here to give us an inside, behind the scenes, never before revealed sneak peek into her process. She's going to share her picks for 2022. She's going to tell us the ones that almost, but not quite, made that list in 2021. She is going to share her process, why she picks what she picks, how she picks what she picks. And she is going to take your questions and you can ask her anything. As she said right before we went live, come at me, catch me off guard. She's a brave woman. Let's do this. I want to welcome Susan, welcome Gerald, welcome Anne, welcome Susan, welcome Josephine, welcome Pat, welcome Linda, welcome everybody. So great to see you. Let's get the questions going in the comments. Anissa Joy, welcome. She says, hello, Sara and Oline from frigid South Carolina. Anissa Joy, welcome. Such a pleasure to have you here. So Anissa is a bookstagrammer. She's super involved with Friends and Fiction. She also has done lives with Jenna Bush Hager and Read with Jenna. She does a lot in the book world. Anissa, a pleasure to have you, ma'am, as always. Catch a Clue says, so glad to be here tonight. Wendy, it is a pleasure to always have you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Welcome everybody who's watching with us on YouTube. If you have any questions, I'm watching on all my different screens. If you have any questions for Oline, you can go ahead and ask in the comments and I will see them right away. Joan says, hi from chilly Florida. Excellent. Oline, your fellow Floridian there, but it's not where you are you?
I'm in Fort Lauderdale area, so I don't know where everyone's from.
Is it cold where you are, Oline?
Not really. It's around 50 degrees right now. It's gorgeous. I'm sorry for those people who are up in the Midwest and Boston.
I'm freezing my tail off here. Hi, Vicki. Hi, Sheila. Hi, Audrey. Great to have you all. All right, Oline, let's get right on into it.
And before we get, Sara, thank you for inviting me. And I want to thank McKenna at Murder by the Book for hosting us. So thank you. And everyone who's come. I think I have some friends who may be logging in, personal friends. And I just appreciate everyone who's been here.
Yay. Hi, Jay Robinson. She says, hello from the Carolinas. Welcome to the conversation, Jay Robinson. Oline, let's start to get into it. Tell us, do you want to start with your 2022 picks, the books you're most excited about, or do you want to tell us the ones that almost but didn't quite make it on your 2021 list?
Let's start with 2021. And, you know, first of all, I think I do a top 20 every year. And I start this on January 1st. And when it comes to December, it's very hard to narrow down because I really think that mysteries have gotten so much better. And each year they get better and better because readers are demanding better stories. And they're demanding more characters, more backgrounds, just the whole everything. My top 3 for 2021 was The Turnout by Megan Abbott. And this is a very provocative novel that really pulls back the curtain on the insular world of ballet. And it shows a hotbed of unchecked ambition, anxiety, competition, love, and hate. It's about 2 sisters who run a ballet school that they inherited from their parents. And ballet has become their freedom and their cage. And I also love The Collective by Allison Galen. And it's about a woman who's grieving over the murder of her daughter and angry that her killer, the daughter's killer, is living his best life. And then she meets this group called The Collective. And these are very rage-filled women who are determined to punish their killers. And they're not interested in justice as much as they are through revenge. And The Collective comes with rules. And of course, the first thing is you don't talk about The Collective. And Michael Connelly never fails to entertain. And his latest, The Dark Hours, connects Harry Bosch with Renee Ballard, and they're looking at a cold case, but also it very much is a generational shift in Connelly's books, and it also is a look at how the pandemic and social justice and how this past year has affected the police. And I just think it's really terrific book. And let's go back to 2021 a little bit later, maybe. Um, I think you have a link to my best, but
Yes, ma'am.
there's a couple ones that didn't quite make it. And one of them was Deer Season by Aaron Flanagan. I don't know if anybody can see that. And a very small print, University of Nebraska. It's very much about the joys and the frustration of a small town and running a family farm. And it's set in 1985 in Nebraska. It's a story of a community that really begins to fall apart when a teenage girl goes missing. And another book that I don't have the cover anymore, I really liked was The Ballerinas. Kind of like in a way like Megan Abbott's. This is by Rachel Capel Dale. I hope I'm pronouncing her right. And it takes place in the ballet, that's the name of the title. And it takes place in the Paris Opera. And it's very much about the power of friendships and how those strong bonds can shape us and how ambition can very much blind us to the realities. The way that confidence can make us strong, but it can also kind of weaken us in a way. Should I keep
And
going?
do you, let me just ask you, Oline, do you have a fondness for the world of ballet? I know your husband is a theater critic. I know I have a fondness for the world of ballet.
I
So
mean, I love ballet whenever I've been to it. I love live theater. I never took lessons or anything. I don't really have a fondness for it, but it took place in the Paris Opera, so I love Paris. And it's just an interesting story.
So wow, yeah, because I think it's so fascinating that well, first of all, the two fabulous ballet books came out in so close to each other, and that they resonated so much with you to both warrant this to warrant this attention. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's sometimes those little trends pop up, and it's just like you're not expecting them, and I would have been remiss not to review both books because I think the readers really would enjoy that.
Exactly. Okay, great. Now, let's start with the ones that didn't make the list. So first of all, let's talk about deer season. So what you said what you loved, why didn't it quite get over that hurdle to make the list for you?
I I don't know.
Mm,
It sometimes they just fall that 1 inch
mhm.
below, and I've gotta make decisions, and, you know, I read a lot. I'm also, for the different venues I review for, but also for the LA Times Book Prize, which I was a judge this year. Um, and I just have to be very tough and ruthless when I narrow them down. And I don't really have a good answer for that. They were both terrific books, and if I could have 30 books on my list, I would have.
Absolutely, absolutely. But I mean, I'm just so fascinated by the process of a book critic to have the chance to get inside your brain and see the world, see the pages through your eyes. Are there, let's call them bad writer habits or things that just flag your attention and you're like, "Ugh, that's an automatic no for me," whether it's a messy middle, whether they lost the oomph, whether it's unrealistic character, annoying language, a stupid name, unpronounceable. I mean, what really presses your buttons, Oline?
All that does. All that does. You know, when I read a book, I want to fall in love with it. And I want to fall in love with the characters and everything about it. Um, I pick books that I like. I do, and then I cherry pick. And I'm looking for always something new, a debut author. I'm looking for maybe a different spin on something. I mean, there's only so many plots, really, it comes down to it. And I'm tired of the serial killer. But then there's an author who comes up and gives you something that's totally fresh. And it's I get assigned certain books from Publishers Weekly and Shelf Awareness, though I kind of tell Shelf Awareness which ones I want to do. Once I start a book, I've got to finish it, whether I like it or not, whether it's going to be a positive review or a negative one. I feel I can't back out. And I'm just looking for that little extra that's always kind of hard to define. You know, when I read a book and all of a sudden in the middle, um, it gets too long, the plot gets messy. I've got to believe in these people. I've got to believe in the story. And that to me is the most important. I got to tell you, I don't care who did it. I'm not really good at figuring out. I don't really care to. I just want to be swept away by that story.
Oh my God, I love that, Oline. I love that. This resonates. Does this resonate with everybody? Give me some hearts up on Facebook. This resonates, right? Yes.
I hope so. You know, for 2022, I mean, okay, the idea of amnesia. That is it's been done before. It's on every daytime drama. But Find Me by Alifair Burke, I'm sorry. Yeah. Is just a terrific read. It comes out, comes out this month. It's already out. And she finds a fresh approach to the whole idea of a woman with amnesia. And you just get caught up in that story.
Yes. Yes. Jay Robinson giving us hearts, giving us thumbs up on YouTube, getting so many hearts up from everybody on Facebook. Thank you so much for all the hearts, all the love, you guys. Anissa saying she loved Find Me, and she says she always finishes a book. You never know what you missed if you do not finish.
Right.
Now, I see some questions coming in, and I want to make sure I get to everybody's questions. So, Aline, I have some more questions on this topic, but I want to get to the audience because this is
absolutely whatever. This is
your time. This is your time. Okay, Cynthia, great question. She said, what do you look for in a book to be best? So we talked about what some of your pet peeves are, those things that just push your buttons. They're just so annoying. What do you look for that's the best, though?
It's got to be the characters for me. It's got to be a story that I have not read before, and a story that's taken me to a very fresh and new place. And it's hard to define. It's like I know it when I see it, but it's hard to define that little extra something that's there. And I go over that list constantly, changing the order, taking books in and out. I also am very drawn to novels that I can relate to as a person. I mean, I didn't read mysteries for a long time, but Sue Grafton and Marcia Muller and Sarah Paretsky brought me back into it because they were authors who were speaking to me as a young woman at that time. And that's what I'm always looking for, is books that speak to me. And I love to go into different cultures, different backgrounds, different countries. I just like everything. Sorry.
I love that. Thank you for the great question, Cynthia. That just got us that inside scoop. Thank you for that great question. Aline, thanks for the great answer. I love that. Oh my goodness. Tracy Clark has just entered the conversation. Award-winning author, one of my favorite authors. She is coming on in February along with Faye Snowden. She came on in July to give us the inside scoop on Runner. I loved that book. Tracy Clark, always a pleasure to have you. Thank you.
Runner was a terrific book. Really enjoyed it. She showed me parts of the Chicago and that that Northern Illinois area that she gave it to me fresh eyes that I would not have seen. And I'm from the Midwest. So love Tracy's books.
Ooh, high praise for Queen Clark. Thank you for joining us as always. It's always a pleasure to see your name pop up. Thank you so much. Okay, here is another great, Anissa's saying, it is so hard to narrow down the list. I only did my top book of the year. It's so hard to narrow down the list. Another great question coming in. I can't wait to hear your answer, Aline. I'm just scrolling to make sure I didn't miss it. Oh, Susan would like to know, is there an up and coming writer that we should take a look at? Great question. Aline, give us the scoop.
Oh, yes. A matter of fact, I brought some of my books I still have. There's a couple of them. here. A Flicker in the Dark by Stacy Willingham. Okay, this comes out, I think it just came out, or maybe it comes out in another week or so. I can't remember when they come out. Very interesting book about a young woman who, as a child, her father was arrested for killing 6 young girls who were the same age as her, and how that's affected her story and her life and what she's done. And it's a terrific, terrific read. It really delves into the characters that you care about. And that's another thing. I've got to care about those characters. I don't have to like them, but I have to care about them. A Flicker in the Dark, terrific, terrific book. Throwing things down the bottom. Another one is new author, The Fields by Aaron Young. This takes place in Iowa. And oddly enough, I read 2 Iowa books back to back. And this is very much about family farms, which are being taken over by big agricultural corporations, and how these farmers and families are dealing with that. And of course, there's several murders in it too. But The Fields by Aaron Young, really high on this book. And I don't think it's out yet. So that's another thing. I'm reading books that are coming out in April.
Right. Well, it's so great to hear about the books that, and what did what caught your attention? Because you said, you read so many. What about, you said what you loved about Tracy's, book Runners, and all of Tracy's books, is that it showed you a side of Chicago that you had not known. What did you love about those 2?
I liked the author's voice. It was very powerful, very unique. The story, I thought, was fresh in the way she got into her characters, and also the scenery. The area
this is Flicker, this is Flicker, or the other one?
Oh, both of them. Both of them.
Okay.
The area has to become a character. Certainly, it does in The Fields by Aaron Young. Iowa, the cornfields, the farming land. I grew up on a farm, so I could certainly understand where she was coming from, and very authentic. And there's another book. It's also a debut called The Cage. I don't know if anybody can see that. And it's by Bonnie Kistler.
Okay.
And this is a wonderful locked room mystery that takes place in a high rise.
Ooh.
Yeah. 2 women get into an elevator. There's a blackout. The elevator goes down 50 floors or whatever. When it opens,
worst nightmare.
Yeah, all right. One of them's dead. Who did it? Did she shoot it? Was it suicide? Was it murder? Was there somebody else in that elevator? And like good mysteries, every little thing that you've done in your life can be taken 2 different ways. You drive past a Dairy Queen, and your motive on that is suddenly called into question. And this is it's a really good, terrific read. The Cage by Bonnie Kistler. There's also Joanna. I'm going to mess up the last name. Joanna Schaffenhausen.
Yes.
Oh, I love her.
Me too.
I loved her. I love her series about Ellery Holloway. I'm sorry, so many books, so little time.
Yeah.
But she's launching a new series in 2022 called Gone for Good. And it's about a Chicago cop and a group of amateur sleuths in this first book called Gone for Good.
Ooh.
Really good. I think the big book of the year is going to be Like a Sister.
By Carolyn. Yes.
She's been a rising star for a long time, and I think this book is going to put her at that level that she deserves. And it's about a young woman trying to find out about what happened to her sister. And it brings in all kinds of things in the family bonds, the distrust you have of people. It's just a really, really terrific book.
Yay! I can't wait. I'm hosting a Kelly the night before her book comes out, Like a Sister, and I cannot wait.
Great.
I just got my arc today. I can't wait to dive in. I'm so excited. This is fantastic. Susan, thank you for the great question. Aline, did we get all of your up and coming writers that we should take a look
Actually
at?
not.
Okay, keep telling us.
Okay.
We're here for it.
The other one, a couple others, is also takes place in Iowa. Is this The Overnight Guest by Heather Gundenkoff?
Yay!
It's about a true crime writer who rents a house, and she's trying to finish this manuscript about a murder. And the house that she's rented is where the murders take place. And it's a farmhouse. It's far out in the country. It's really kind of very spooky, and it's just a really terrific read. And again, it's I don't know what's with Iowa, but all of a sudden there's like two of them. I also like Desolation Canyon by P.J. Tracy, and this is a new series. P.J. Tracy wrote the Monkey Wrench series with her mom. Her mom has passed, and she has a new series about an L.A. police detective and an Army veteran. They're not lovers, they're not partners, but they sometimes partner up to solve crimes, and it's really quite good. There's another book, and excuse me.
No worries. We are here for it, Aline. We are here for it.
Down there. Reckless Girls by
Ooh.
Rachel Hawkins. It comes out next month, I think. I can't remember. Sorry. It's about a remote island that has a really violent history. It's hundreds of miles from anywhere, and 5 people end up there thinking this is going to be an idyllic getaway. And it is for these 5 20-somethings until it's not. And let me tell you, Gilligan's Island had nothing on this place.
Oh boy.
Shadows of Pecan Hollow. Hang on, hear me. Yes, Shadows of Pecan Hollow by Carolyn Frost, also a debut. And this is about a woman who's never been loved in her life. She was abandoned as an infant by her mom, put into foster care which she always ran away from. And the only time she ever felt that she was wanted is when she was kind of adopted by a criminal. So there you go.
Whoa. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. I'm so excited.
The Other Family by Wendy Corsi-Staub. Wendy is so prolific. She has written over 90 books. She's always reliable. And this has a kind of a haunted house feel to it. And there's one more. Well, actually, there's a couple more, if you don't mind me just babbling on here.
Don't mind babbling on. Woman, we are here to hear from you and to listen to your wisdom and hear your picks. This is amazing, you mystery queen.
T. Jefferson Parker, sorry.
Ooh.
This new book is 1,000 Steps. I love the cover. And it takes place in 1968. And it starts out as a culture clash between the hippie community and those who are not. And I think he really kind of captures that whole 1960s vibe.
Ooh, yeah, I see the cover is looking very psychedelic, very
very much so.
Very groovy, dude. Yeah. Very groovy, man.
Yeah, very groovy.
The Age of Aquarius is blasting in my head.
Yeah. There's a couple other books I think are going to be really good this year, but I have not read them.
Ooh.
I'm going to mention them anyway. One is Secret Identity by Alex Segura.
Yes, Alex Segura. Yes, he was on in September, and he is so sharp. He's fantastic.
Yes, he is. And this takes place in the comic book world, which is kind of a world that you don't really see in mysteries too much.
No.
I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to Her Last Affair by John Searles.
Yes. Yes. I'm looking forward to that too.
Here we go. Sorry, should have had these all up here.
No.
But I'm really looking forward to this book. I haven't read it yet, so I can't say anything one way or the other, except I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to The Secret We Share by Edwin Hill.
Oh,
And
yay!
Edmonds has had this series about a librarian who's very unlike any librarian. She finds people.
Oh,
And
yeah,
kind of
yes, Hester.
yes, and it kind of skirts between the hard-boiled and the amateur sleuth. And he kind of combines both of those.
Yes.
And I really, really enjoyed it. And This Might Hurt by Stephanie Warble.
Ooh, oh, Roble. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, I really liked her first one, which I'm now blanking on the name, but I think this will be quite interesting. Oh, Rose Gold, Darling Rose Gold was her debut, which came out last year. I really liked that a lot, so I'm looking forward to this one. Again, I have not read it. I cannot comment one way or the other, except these are things I'm looking forward to.
And back to John Searle's book, Her Last Affair. So Stephanie, you said what made you excited about her next one is how much you enjoyed her debut.
Yes.
What makes you excited about John Searle's book, Her Last Affair?
I read one of his books a few years ago and had not been able to review another one. And
Ooh.
the reason is because just so many books, so little time.
Yeah.
And even if I plan to review a book, sometimes something else will come up. Like if somebody has a local event in South Florida, I've got to push a book back for that.
Okay.
Sometimes, it's just timing is how it works out. So I'm really looking forward to reliving that passion I think he brought to the book I read about 5 years ago or something like that.
Ooh, okay. I love that answer. So, and I have not read Her Last Affair yet, but I'm also very excited to read it. I saw him in conversation when he hosted Kate White for the Fiancé came out last summer, and he is freaking hilarious. He told the story about creme brulee and Marlon Brando and Jackie Collins. I literally laughed so hard my face hurt. So I immediately DM'd him on Twitter. It was scandalous. It also involved lost virginity. I mean, there was a lot happening in this story, and I've never looked at creme brulee the same way. Let me just say that. And that was one of my favorite desserts before I heard this story. And it still is, but now it feels real different when I eat it. Anyway, I immediately DM'd him and said, I have to host you. So I'm hosting him, actually co-hosting him with McKenna, and I cannot wait. So he's coming on February 28th at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, and we are going to get the inside scoop on Her Last Affair, and I'm going to make him tell the creme brulee story again because it is that good. So I'm so excited to
I'll be watching that because I want to hear what he has to say too. By then I should have the book read and reviewed.
Yeah, and if you like creme brulee, I'm just going to tell you, you're going to love it, but you're never going to look at it the same. After you hear that story. We're getting so many hearts up on Facebook, so I just posted about it. All right, let's keep go. Oh my goodness, so many comments. These are fantastic. Anissa is saying she loved Find Me. That's very cool. Let me just see. Tracy Clark said, "Oh, you guys, thank you so much for the kind words. Tracy, you're amazing. I adore you. I can't wait to have you back in February." Anissa is saying, "Stacy Willingham, A Flicker in the Dark came out last week. Absolutely. Thank you for letting me know." Oh my goodness. Hank Philippi Ryan has entered the chat.
Oh, wonderful. Hi, Hank.
Hi, Hank. We're so happy to have you. She said, "This is such a marvelous interview." And that is extremely high praise from this 37-time Emmy Award winning investigative journalist. Thank you, as always, Hank, for your kind words and for all of your love and support. It's very, very appreciated.
Sarah, do you mind if I mention a couple other books from 2021?
I would love for you to mention some other books from 2021, Oline.
Because one of the things I like to read are books that may not, there are certain authors who are review proof. I don't need to mention.
What's that mean? Review proof? I've never heard that before.
It doesn't matter what I say or anybody says, readers are going to buy them.
Ooh.
They may not like the book. They may think that author has kind of past their prime. They're still going to read it because it offers some people don't like change. They'd rather go to a chain restaurant than try something that's locally owned.
Wow.
There's certain authors I don't feel I need to review. I don't want newspaper space, and space anywhere is very precious. So I don't want to waste it, excuse me, on somebody that is going to be sold anyway. Where I'd rather tell the reader, and I'm always thinking of the reader, a new book, a different type of story that they would be interested in.
So, Oline, I just want to make sure I understand that, because I've never heard that term review proof before. So thank you for teaching me something new.
Made it up. I don't know.
Oh, okay. I thought that was an industry term. I thought this was like a thing everyone else knew, except for me. So would somebody like that be, and thank you for the hearts up on Facebook, you guys. So is that someone like, let's say, Ruth Ware, Lee Child, Jeffrey Deaver, Dean Koontz? It doesn't matter what they write, it's going to sell well, or are we thinking of other people? I just
I'm actually thinking of other people, though those people will always sell well.
Okay.
But there are I will make exceptions, of course. And again, if somebody has an event in South Florida, last year I ended up interviewing Jeffrey Deaver 4 times on Zoom. It was a lot of fun.
Isn't he amazing? He's so
very nice man,
brilliant.
Yeah,
the way his mind works and the way he thinks about craft is so well honed and so thoughtful. I have such incredible respect and admiration for him. He's wonderful.
Yes, absolutely. Back to 2021, if that's okay. These Toxic Things by Rachel Hausell Hall. I loved that book.
Yes. What did you love about it?
I loved it because it was so different. It was about a digital archaeologist, and she's making a digital scrapbook for this woman who is has early stages of Alzheimer's. And the woman wants to remember things in her past. And she's picked out these really odd little things like a hair clip, a pen, a can opener, things that you don't think of people having a connection. But the book is very much about real estate development, family dynamics, but especially how culture is shaped by people and the things and how we become attached to objects, and oh yeah, there's a serial killer supposedly in the area too, but but it's very much about things and how we do get attached to things. I think
exactly. And what I thought was so fascinating, aside from everything that you just said, because it also addresses gentrification in an area in LA that has been historically all Black, but now it's gentrifying and the white people are coming in and the soul food place the diner that's always been there, now they have to be next to this, she coffee shop. And it was so, and that wasn't the point of the book, but it enriched it and texturized it so beautifully. And at first I thought that the reason that the woman wanted all those weird things preserved was because she was far enough down the path of Alzheimer's that she didn't know that those things were just kind of meaningless,
Yeah.
But that isn't it, is it?
It's not. But you make up a good point, is books that have more than one thing. They're not just about who done it. They include all these other things that are shifting around a character or a story or a community. And I think that's very important for people to write very full stories, not just, somebody died and here's the killer, here's the sleuth, and we're going to throw in a couple of things here and there, but to take us into a world we have not been to before. I think S.A. Cosby is past year, Razor Blade Tears. He's really shown himself to be an author to watch. And Razor Blade Tears, I loved Blacktop Highway, which was his book last year. Razor Blade Tears is about 2 fathers who are trying to find out who killed their gay sons who were married to each other.
Oh, yeah.
And it's very much about homophobia, parenting, classism, seized opportunities. I mean, there's so many things going on in that book. And also in Blacktop Highway, which was last year's book.
Oline, when you say that Sean, that S.A. Cosby has proven himself to be an author to watch. What does that mean in your book, pun intended? Why are you watching him? What do you expect to see?
I expect to see his career to be around for a long time. I expect to see better and better books from him. He doesn't have a book coming out in 2022, so I'm really looking forward to 2023. And I think he's an author that we're going to see be around for a while. At least I certainly hope so.
Yay.
Um, um, one book that made my list, which is very much under the radar,
Yeah.
was The Perfume Thief by Timothy Shaffer.
Yes. So I saw that on your list and I thought to myself, man, this went under my radar. So tell us about this book, because if it went under your radar, it went under my radar, maybe it went under other people's radars. Why do you think it went under the radar, and what did you love about it?
Well, I loved about it because this was, again, a different story. It takes place in Nazi-occupied Paris, and the main character is Clementine, and who is, I believe, transgendered at the time, which is very different. And she is a perfumer, a former thief, and she makes these fragrances for like cabaret dancers and the prostitutes, and she makes them based on their personal experiences. For example, like a clock. This clock was very important to this person, so she concocts a perfume made by that. And she's an American expatriate. She's in her 70s, and she tries to protect a well-known perfumer's diary from the Nazis because there's a lot of code in there for the for the Allies, and it's a very good, interesting view of Paris. That before World War II, many gay men and women there, they believed that Paris was, this mecca for them. Different type of story. I also love Perfume. And Denise Hamilton, who I think she's still writing, has a couple books that revolve around perfume. So I just was kind of drawn from the personal, and then just got sucked into the story. The Palace of the Drowned by Christine Mangan. I'm sorry if I can't pronounce some of these names. And it's very much in the spirit of Patricia Highsmith, because it's a very unforgiving book. And it's a slow boil because you're not sure where the violence is going to come in. And when it does, you're just surprised, but at the same time, you're expecting it. And it takes place in Venice in 1966, where there's going to be the big flood of Venice. Very different type of setting for us. Loved it. And These Silent Woods by Kimmy Cunningham Grant. And again, this is kind of a trend that we see a lot now with soldiers and veterans.
Yes.
He's a veteran. He manages his PSTD, but more importantly, fatherhood has grounded him. And he lives alone in the woods with his very bright 8-year-old daughter, and he's trying to find peace there. And, of course, then the outside world always interferes. It's very much about unconditional love. And I think it just really, really got you. I got two more if you want me to go through them.
I really want you to go through them. I just want to pause and say, so Kimmy Cunningham Grant came on the show to give us the scoop on These Silent Woods.
Okay.
And what I thought was fascinating about that book, aside from everything you just said, because I loved the portrayal of Cooper, the dad's PTSD. You could really see how the trauma of war, the trauma of serving our country, it really impacts people painfully and permanently for for the rest of their lives. I loved that. I loved his love of his daughter. But what I thought was really fantastic about that book was how she wrote so reverently about the woods. That book is a love song, a love a love poem to nature, to trees, to leaves, to animals, to living off the earth, to the power of solitude and taking a walk in the woods. It was so beautifully written, and it was interesting to me because she's a poet, and I'll be honest, okay, I don't usually get poetry. I'm sorry. I wish I did. I wish I was cool enough to be sophisticated enough to get poetry. And most of the time, I'm wondering what the heck these people are talking about and feeling pretty left out of the conversation. But what I loved about that is how she wrote these very short little sentences sometimes in the style of poetry, not prose. And it was so powerful. I was like, oh my God, this is beautiful. And I just love that you picked that book. That's so cool. And she talked a lot about her faith and her writing, and how she prayed for that book. And you can feel that faith energy coming through, and her love of the woods, and how being in the woods is a spiritual experience for her in that. And I loved that.
I totally agree. I thought the writing in that was very lyrical. And it just really, really drew me in. Another book I really liked was Hairpin Bridge by Taylor Adams.
Yes.
And this takes place on an isolated, rarely traveled span of a bridge that is supposedly haunted. And in a way, it's almost like a Western showdown, because there's a young woman who is trying to investigate why her twin sister left to her death in this derelict overpass. And she meets the highway patrolman who found the woman's body. And it's kind of like a dance, a show, an old-fashioned Western showdown between the two of them, is they're both trying to figure out where the other one is coming from. And you read it too, or did you talk with Taylor?
Yes. So I hosted Taylor twice for this book, actually. And first of all, what an incredible human being. He is so humble. He's so down to earth. He's so kind and so open. He just is really happy to connect with his writers. But his book last to this, No Exit, got a lot of fans, a lot of people who loved that book. That's now in the process of becoming a movie. And what I loved about Hairpin Bridge was that he wrote from a young Vietnamese woman's perspective. And I'm fascinated when men try to write from women's perspectives and women try to write from men's perspectives. And what I loved is that this book didn't go in the direction that I thought it was. She at first you think she's just this bereaved, fragile, she just wants to get answers, and you fear for her. You're like, oh God, she's so vulnerable. Or is she? And so I loved that. Sarah White chiming in saying Hairpin Bridge. Yes.
I love this. These are great. I love the fact that you have so many great people here.
Oh my gosh, I love my mavens. Like I call my people my mavens. I love my mavens. They're the best. Everyone here is united in their love of mysteries and thrillers and reading and books, and everybody's got cool things to say and chiming in, and we're all just here for the right reasons. I truly have the best audience, and I'm so blessed to do this, and I'm excited for them to hear from you, Oline. Okay, keep telling us your picks, or was that your last pick?
No, I got one more. And again, I tried to pick out ones to talk about that kind of under the radar.
Yeah, that's what we like, under the radar.
Pickard County Atlas by Chris Harding Thornton. Again,
I haven't even heard of this one. Fantastic.
It's set in 1978 in Nebraska. It's about a family whose child was murdered 18 years before.
Ooh.
And they've never been able to move past. And how, of course, this affects the entire community. And each character, they move kind of like they're in a fog. And the past, definitely, the past is never really the past, as they say. It's, that past, that murder, what happened, what could they have done, how it affected everybody. That just really haunts their present. And I just thought this was a really terrific book. And that's the main ones I wanted to talk about.
I love that. Well, you have so many questions coming in, Oline, right, and I want to get to every single one of them. So I just want to remind everyone, Oline said, come for me. She said so she's
bring
here.
It on.
A brave woman. Hank Philippi Ryan is sending us love. Hank, thank you so much for being here. We are honored to have you. Cynthia says, oh my God, Razor Blade Tears was amazing. It really speaks to today's world. He is an incredible writer. His voice is so strong. I haven't read it yet. I bought it at the bookstore, and I need to get it. I need to start reading it. So thank you for that. Anissa is sending love to Hank. We're also excited to have her. Queen Hank is in the house. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, let me just, there's so many questions, so I want to just make sure that I'm getting them all in order. Because this is this is your time to talk to this journalist and book critic and to ask her anything. Okay, Jay Robinson would like to know, Oline, any closed circle mysteries or locked room suggestions from 2021 or 2022?
Oh, that's an interesting. Got to remember to, as I read a book sometime and after I write the review, I don't always remember every little detail. But one thing is certainly the cage, which I mentioned before, which takes place in this high rise. Definitely is a locked room mystery. The Reckless Girls, even though it takes place on an island, it's very much a locked room because that island's like a couple 100 miles from anywhere. I would recommend those two very much so.
Thank you so much for the great question, Jay Robinson. Thank you for the great answer, Oline. Back to those review-proof authors. So Ruth Ware came out with One by One last year in paperback. That's a locked. Would that count as a locked room because they're all stuck there in the snow?
Yeah, I think it would.
Did you? What? Any thoughts on that? What did you think of that
I,
one?
I thought it was very enjoyable.
Yeah, I learned a lot about skiing. I'm not a skier. I live in Boston, but I don't know what's wrong with me. Well, I do know. I want to live. I don't want to. I don't want to ski into a tree, and I don't want to twist my knee. So I don't ski. But I learned a lot about skiing on a lot about skiing on that one. Okay. I want to say that if anyone has any questions, Anissa would like to know, who are some of the debut novelists that you liked in 2021 that we might not have heard of? I love a debut.
Okay.
Jay, before we answer that, I just want to say Jay Robinson is saying thank you for answering her question. Sarah White saying she loved The Cage and she thought she was the only one. See, Sarah White, you're not the only one. Here you have professional journalist and book critic Oline Cogdill validating and legitimizing your choice, saying this book is that good. Okay, back to Anissa's question.
And I hope I am answering people's questions. Well, I loved Who is Maud Dixon by Alexandra Andrews. And this is about a young woman who is she's like an intern at a publishing company, and she has made this intern of an author named Maud Dixon, who no one's ever seen. No one knows what she looks like. She doesn't do book signings. She doesn't go to BoucherCon. She just writes, and she starts to work for her and realizes this is a very interesting person. And the intern is very ambitious. And Maud decides the two of them are going to go on a research trip to Morocco, but not telling one. Well, nothing goes wrong there, right?
I love that.
Girl A.
Wait, what did you love about that book? Is it the Morocco setting? Is it the intern angle? Is it the writing? Is it the character?
It was the writing and the humor, and it was an intelligently plotted book. It was very briskly paced. There was a lot of inventive twists in there. I didn't really see, but I don't really look for the twists. I just enjoy them as they come.
Yeah.
And it just was, again, a different type of book. I loved Girl A by Abigail Dean.
Okay.
And this is about a woman who, when she was 15 years old, she escaped from her parents' abuse, which was called, the house was called the House of Horrors. And she alerted the authorities who rescued the other kids. They were like Girl A, Girl B, Girl C, and then Boy A through Boy D. So there was a lot of kids. And they were adopted by different parents, but they still have a very complicated relationship with their parents and with each other. And it was very much, I think, about how forgiveness can be both um, cathartic and corrosive to how you
Ooh.
are. I,
Ooh.
I loved My Sweet Girl by Amanda. I'm going to mess up this last name.
Beatisa.
Thank you. And
Yes.
again, this is a very different type of book.
Yeah.
She's serial and she had a lot of Hitchcockian themes, I thought, in this about culture and the unreliable narrator. And it was about this woman who was adopted at age 12 from a horrible orphanage. But she's not really a sweet girl.
No.
She has a lot of guilt, and she doesn't feel that she deserves the life that she's been given. And I think she's very much out of control. But what the author did is it kept the reader on her side, no
Mm.
matter how badly she behaved.
How do you think she did that? Because
I don't know. I don't know.
Anissa is saying, thank you so much. More to add to the to be read mountain.
Okay, I got some more here.
Okay, good.
Arsenic and Abado.
Oh yes, Arsenic and Adobo. Yes, I heard a lot about that, and I didn't get a chance to read that one yet.
It's by Mia P. Mansala. I'm so sorry to mess up people's last name because I have a very unusual name, and I'm sorry. But I love that book because it gave us a really lively mixture of Filipino culture, food, family bonds. It's a culinary mystery, and it just kind of but it also hits on a trend because I'm seeing a lot of culinary mysteries right now where the background is different, and they're looking at their culture and ethnicity, and that's a major part of the book. And there's another one, Mango, Mambo, and Murder by Raquel Reese, who just got nominated for a Lefty Award at a Left Coast Crime. And again, first of all, it takes place in Miami, and it very neatly delves into Cuban American culture and how food can honor one's background and be a way of showing love. And one more debut, sorry guys, Wanda M. Morris's All Her Little Secrets. This is such a smoothly paced story. You read it too?
I loved it. I can't wait to hear what you loved about it. Tell us.
Well, again, this is about a woman who's overcome a childhood that was filled with violence and poverty and racism and neglect. And she really kind of built herself up to become a senior member of this legal department. And she's the only Black employee there, aside from, I think, the janitor.
Yes.
And it's not the career that brings her satisfaction. It's not the life that has brought her satisfaction because there's so many obstacles still in her way. And it starts off when she goes to the office early to meet her married boss, who's also her lover, and finds him dead in the office. Well, that's never going to happen. That's never going to lead to anything good. But she shows these characters that are so realistic. And that's just what I love to be able to lose myself in a story.
Oh, I love that. Anne Glasgow, welcome to the conversation. She's saying Wanda's book is so smart. And yes, Oline, yes, I love All Her Little Secrets. Wanda came on the show to give us the inside scoop, and what a smart, well-written, brilliantly plotted. That woman kept me up until 3 a.m. multiple nights because I had to read one more chapter. If I'm sleep deprived and have bags under my eyes, blame Wanda Morris because she is brilliant. Sarah White saying All Her Little Secrets. Yes. Oline, I love this question. And this is a really different one. So you said bring it on and consider it brought. Alan would like to know, do you have any advice for aspiring mystery and thriller authors? Are there characteristics great debuts share besides just being well-written and suspenseful? Great question, Alan.
I have no insight into that. Yeah, I'm sorry.
I feel like you do, Oline, because you know what works on the page, and you know why some books catch your interest and why some don't. What are the unifying characteristics of what makes Amanda J. Atiso, Wanda Morris, The Chain? What makes these books great? Why do you like them?
I think because the author is writing from a sense of authenticity and honesty. They're not trying, I see authors that try to get onto the latest trend, like the unreliable narrator or the female protagonist, but they're really not sure what they're doing. And it's got to be a story that fires their passion, and that passion will come across on the page. It's got to be a story that they're writing from a sense of authenticity and honesty and trying to present just the best story they possibly can. Does that answer your question?
Yes. So you can tell as a reader who reviews and critiques books when someone is passionate, when
Yeah.
even though the book has been written hundreds or thousands of miles away from you, perhaps a year or several years before, you can still feel that energy.
Yeah, you can. And I
Alan
reviewed
is
a book.
saying yes, it does answer his question, and thank you.
Okay. I reviewed a book last year. It's an
Ooh.
author who has, I don't know, maybe 15 novels in this series. I'm not going to say who it is, but I just felt he was okay. He was phoning it in and just relying on the same story again, but just maybe changing a few things here and there. One thing about, okay, like Michael Connelly, the reason he has kept Bosch so fresh is that he takes him to different situations. It's not always the same type of story. And he's looking at how Bosch and LA mesh, how the two come together. And, Connelly also occasionally does a standalone or the Lincoln Lawyer series. He's just keeping it fresh, and he makes you want to read it. There's other authors that are out there that I have no interest at all in reviewing ever again, because I just felt there was a point in their books that they went from being really good and having it all to just kind of squandering their talents, to just kind of keep phoning it in, I guess was the phrase I would use.
I love that phrase, and that totally resonates. Oh my gosh. Well, it looks like we are out of time.
Oh
This
no!
has been a fun, fabulous, fascinating conversation with professional journalism, journalist and book critic Oline Cogdill, and I am thrilled to announce that this will be happening more. So Oline is going to come back and tell us her favorite picks every quarter and have this kind of conversation with us so that you mystery and thriller fans can get this inside scoop from her. And I am loving it. So Anissa is saying, thank you, ladies. So much fun and informative. Cynthia is saying, thank you so much. This was fascinating. Thank you to everyone who showed up. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for your energy. Tracy Clark saying this was such a great conversation. Tracy, thank you for being here. I can't wait to host you again in February with Faye Snowden. Everyone tune in for that. Thank you for all the hearts. Joan saying, thank you. This was wonderful. Thank you, Camilla. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Larry. Great to have you here. Sarah J. Robinson. Sarah saying, thanks. More time, please. Jay Robinson saying, yes, I really enjoyed adding to my TBR. Yeah, what an incredible opportunity to get to ask this professional journalist and book critic what books she's excited about, what books you should read. This is so great for us book lovers. So everybody, I will see you next Monday for hashtag Mystery Monday, because Mondays can be murder. I will be hosting one of Oline's top picks, Heather Gudenkoff, who's going to give us the scoop on The Overnight Guest, which Oline picked as one of the books she's most excited about in 2022. Along with Pooja Guha and Jackie Mitchard here to tell us about The Good Son. So all of this coming up next Monday. I will see you then. Have a great week. And remember, we're going to continue the conversation over on Facebook at the Mystery and Thriller Mavens Facebook group. So if you love mysteries as much as we do and you want to keep chatting about it, come on over there because that's where the good conversation happens. All right, everybody.
Thank everybody for coming. This was a lot of fun, and I can't see who's in the room or anything, so I just appreciate everybody coming. And thank you, McKenna. Thank you, Sara.
Yay! Thank you all. All right, have a great night.